Hi there. We are going to talk today about a very common topic that I hear, which is that I hate my boss, or my boss hates me, or I hate my coworker, my peer, my board member, and they are trying to sabotage me, my work, or my career. So, three things we're going to focus on. Number one, is it a thing? Number two is, if it is a thing, what is this thing? And number three, if it is a thing, what do I want to do about it? Okay, so number one is to question your own mind. So we should not always believe our thoughts. And I cannot tell you how many times over and over I will meet with, let's say, the CEO of a company, and the CEO will say, yeah, my plan is to make her my successor. And so I've been really pushing her to get more into sales and to get results because the board is never going to let me make her my successor unless I push her. And then I coach her, and she says, he's out to get me. He wants to get rid of me. And he's openly looking for somebody else for this position. I cannot tell you how often that happens. Now, since I don't share information because of confidentiality, my goal is always to get them to talk and have dialogue more, which is we're going to talk about in number three. But just know that we all have confirmation bias. So once you tell your brain something, it's going to look for evidence to support that. So you can't always trust what you're seeing. I'll give you an example. Let's just randomly say that you decide you want more vegetables, and vegetables are very important and they're great for your gut health, and your gut will tear away if it doesn't have greens and vegetables. So now you have this vegetables mindset. Pay attention for the next week how much information, podcast, how much of your algorithm is catered to vegetables. That's how our brain is. Your mind sets the algorithm for you to get more and more information that confirms your bias. And so, and we'll talk about in number two. Sometimes it really is happening, but you need a method to confirm if you are correct about your assumptions that somebody is out to get you or you, sabotaging your work, sabotaging your team. Happens all the time. We just have to make sure that it is actually happening to you. So one of the ways that you can do this is to go into the next meeting or event with this person and see if you can recreate the animosity, or maybe this person interrupts you every time that you speak, or they shut down your ideas, or they take the idea of the person next to you when that's what you've been saying all along. But to really go in objectively and see if you can repeat the grievance that you have or the evidence that you have that this person is against you. It's not that hard to do if the person is really out to get you. You can also carefully ask somebody who is objective. You can't ask your work bestie. Of course, they're going to be totally on your side and they're going to say, yeah, that's exactly what's happening and here's why. And that's just how friendship works. If you can find somebody who's objective, who maybe knows this person better than you do, maybe somebody who's been working with them longer or who knows you very well, that could be extremely helpful. So your first job is to collect data and to really question your own mind. I love Tim Ferriss is one of my favorite thought leaders, and he always says, don't trust your thoughts. And so I'm not doubting you. I'm saying that you should doubt yourself a little bit and just know that it's very human to make an assumption about something, and it's happened toward us, right? Somebody's made an assumption about us based on one transaction or interaction, and we hate being pigeonholed like that. So just really get a look at the situation, see if you can come up with some empirical data about whether it's really happening or not. Okay, so let's say that you come up with, yes, this person wants my job, or this person, in your opinion, or this person is sabotaging me, or whatever. So now we have to really look at what is this? What is going on? So the short answer is sabotage or lack of collaboration or empire building or territory grabbing or whatever it is, which I admit happens all the time. So one of the ways that you can name it to figure out exactly what it is and if it's about you or not, it is this little visualization that I want you to have. So I want you to picture this person, whoever they are in the company, in a glass office. And in this visualization, you're standing outside the office. So you're just looking in, has nothing to do with you. I want you to picture yourself observing this person at work. And in this visualization, I want you to imagine everything coming at them. So, what is this person's stress? Again, nothing to do with you. You're just having a perceptual shift for a moment, which is a very good habit. Even if this person is evil, it's still a very good habit. So, I want you to picture, do they have board pressure? Do they have revenue pressure? Do they have family pressure? Somebody's sick in the family. So, what in your imagination, whether it's accurate or not, what is the pressure that's coming in to this person's sphere? And once you do that, it takes a minute to do that visualization. It might give you a little insight into the motivation of this person's behavior. Because in step number one, you've confirmed the behavior is eroding your relationship with this person. Number two is you're trying to figure out psychologically why. I think sometimes we make assumptions that this person is jealous of me or intimidated or doesn't like my gender. Those could all be true. But in step two, you really take time to figure out and evaluate what are the factors present, right? And then if in this perceptual shift, try to look at their behaviors in the next meeting. Do they favor men or do they favor the IT team? Or not listen to anybody from sales or hate marketing or whatever it is that you're coming up with. But to really, again, gather some data now that you know that it is happening, what exactly is it? And once you can name what it is, even if it is, let's try to be adult about it and not like this person just hates me. Let's get a little more nuance than that of this person doesn't respect the division that I'm in, or this person was let go from their last position and they have a ton of baggage. So whatever your theory of what's going on is fairly important because it gives you a perspective and it can help you with step number three, which is now that you know it is something, and now that you know what that something might be, then you can decide exactly what you want to do about it. And I will give you the short answer, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. But the short answer is it's probably going to require some dialogue and action on your part. Now, if this is like a go to HR kind of thing, go to HR, but have very limited expectations of what that division can really do for you, right? That is not some kind of secret agency that is there only to help and protect you. That person, that area, that section, that department works for the same organization that you do. And they have a duty, sometimes fiduciary, to protect the company as well. So you need to manage your expectations. You're not getting out of it that easy. This is a nuanced thing. This is a work thing that's going to happen to you multiple times in your career if you're at the beginning or the middle of your career. And so you need to get good at dealing with it. So, dialogue. This is where you think about what your chief complaint is without personalizing it or awfulizing it or catastrophizing it. And then make a list of what are the key behaviors that are not really working for you and keep it about the work. That's why we're all here to work. And so keep it out of the personal realm. Sometimes people just communicate differently, they understand things differently, and you may never agree with this person. And with some respect for whatever the role is, if this is a CEO or the chairman or chairwoman of the board, right? You need to have your dialogue and feedback be planned and organized. It doesn't necessarily need to be formal. Sometimes it can be with your consciousness of everything and awareness. Now that you have your act together regarding it, it can just be a quick mention of, it feels to me like whenever we're in a meeting in a group, it doesn't happen one to one, but when we're in a group, I feel like you don't want to let me talk. Is that something? Am I imagining that? Is that real? So sometimes it can be brought up very informally. It depends on the complaint, but it does need to be brought up. And that's where the bravery comes from. I think there's a part of us that would rather just complain about it, gossip about it, stew about it, and not face it. The truth is, if done well, although you can't control their side of the dialogue, if done well, it can cure the issue or make you feel more empowered or just make you feel like you have more agency, even though the behavior doesn't change. There are so many benefits to dialogue, but silence is not going to work. So let's say you're in the sort of 1% of these situations where you do actively have somebody who is evil by your standards and they are actively trying to sabotage you. And it's been proven and it's happened repeatedly. That is where I would say don't have the dialogue. You need to be more strategic about that and think about where are your allies, who can give you some advisement about this. So I'll just give you an example. A CFO of a company who was a female was made to feel overly uncomfortable by this aggressive peer of hers. And HR did nothing about it, and the CEO did nothing about it. And so she simply made a rule for this person that they were not allowed to step into her office. That was her private and personal space, and this person was not allowed into it. And under no circumstances would she ever be alone with this person. So that worked, right? Because she set the boundary, but she did not have dialogue with this person. She set a boundary, she set a rule. She did not get any support that she needed, and it worked, at least for the time being. So think about what your strategy is going to be. And one of the key things that you need to remember, and this came from a book, Workplace Poker, Dan somebody is the author. These are not your friends. This is not your family. Work is not family. Now, it doesn't need to be enemies, and we can have friendly, connected, even professionally intimate relationships at work, but this is work. This is about the work. So as you think about what your dialogue wants to be and how you want to be productive about this and how you want to have agency and clarity and communicate clearly, keep it professional, because the expectation that everybody should love you and that nobody should fire you and that nobody should have any disagreement with how you do things and should understand everything you communicate is just completely unrealistic. This is work. It doesn't have to be awful, but it doesn't have to feel like a cushy family either. I hope this helps. I would love to hear how you utilize the 3-step process and what you come up with. Have a great day.